I'm really honored to have Joe Lamond, NAMM's president and CEO, join us today. We got a lot to discuss, I think. We're going to talk a lot about, mostly about Believe in Music Week. First, I wanted to ask you, though, about the decision to cancel NAMM in the first place. I think I thought it might have been one of the toughest decisions you've ever made, but I think it actually wasn't. I think you kind of had to make the decision, right?
Yeah. In hindsight is so clear, right? I mean, first of all, thanks for letting me come on, Brian. I've been watching your interviews, and I think you have a talent that has not been exploited yet. I think you have a big future in this as far as the interview stuff, which I think all of us have multitasked, right? We've all had to find new ways to be effective and work with our industry. But yeah, no, that's a really good point. This was back in July. Again, here we are, end of October, early November. How much the world has changed already, right? And but in July, it really did not appear that we would be able to, take the time and put everything together. A show the size of NAMM takes 6 months to at least to be able to, create and produce safely and successfully. So if we didn't have a pretty clear green light by July, early August at the latest, we knew we couldn't do it. And there was nothing on the horizon, especially in California. We looked a lot at Disneyland and some of the other larger places like that were still not being able to open. And we thought, look, we're not either. So it was sort of inevitable. I think, as I've said a few times, the tougher part was accepting it and accepting the fact that for the first time since 1944, there would not be a NAMM show, and know what it meant to all of us, and to NAMM as an organization. It's of course our number one driver of revenue that helps us do all the things we do year round about, music lobbying and supporting, all the industry with education and all the advocacy things we do like that. So it was a tough one to swallow. And we just, like everyone else, we tightened our belt and figured out how to make it work.
Well, if you think since 1944 it's bad, how about the first time it was almost Santa Claus in 159 years?
And no Halloween. I know I'm time stamping this interview, but on Saturday there'll be no trick or treating. Yeah, wow, I know. I know.
It is a long time, but we got to put it in perspective.
I think historically we're going to look back on this time and just be amazed at, in many ways, how well music fared through it all. I mean, think about the pandemic in its own way is so devastating all around the world, everywhere. There's not a country that NAMM has a member that hasn't been devastated in some ways by this. Yet through it all, I mean, whether in quarantine or in small groups or individuals, they've just turned to music. And then what we've been able to do online with these online concerts, and it's just happy hours where people are playing. It's actually, it's really rewarding to see how people have turned to music. And I shared the story with someone, I can't remember who, but looking back in some of our records to 1918 and 1919, right? The last major global pandemic. And there are articles, just like there were articles in the New York Times about a month ago about, the resilience of music, and especially in this case, the guitar. But you look back to articles at the same time, 1918, 1919, in pandemics and quarantine, people are playing more music, pianos and guitars. And it was just such an interesting analogy that, wow, okay, I guess this has been done before, that when people are, really looking for hope or faith or inspiration or optimism, they pick up an instrument. So ironically, I think we will be poised as an industry to come out of this in really strong and in good shape. And that's exciting. The role of music is, always important, but maybe when things are tough, even more important. So.
Okay, great. Well, now I don't have to ask you about the future. I got that all set.
So we're good. Yeah.
I did want to ask you about Believe in Music Week. I think people would have a pretty good idea. I know we ask every year, but people have a pretty good idea what would go on at a regular NAMM show. But with some changes, I know you have new wrinkles every year. You make sure it's even cooler than the year before, which I don't know how you accomplish, but somehow you do. But this is a virtual event is a whole new animal. So for everyone who doesn't know what's going to be happening, and probably most people unfortunately don't, can you give us a description of what the event is going to be like. To take us in there and, what we might see when we go online on January 18th to 21st, I believe it is, right? So
Yeah, no,
tell us what's going to be like. What's the experience going to be for people?
it's a great question, and it's the first and foremost. It's just there's nothing that'll take the place of the NAMM show. The NAMM show is walking or onto that campus, into that Grand Plaza, and seeing the buildings and the banners and the energy, and then stepping onto that show floor and seeing the amazing exhibits, and then events and all the things we do in that whole campus for at least the week we're there. It's just this can't, nothing online can actually kind of emulate that. So I just kind of stipulate the fact that it's really unfortunate we can't be together. I think that's really an important start of the year for the whole industry globally, and but since we couldn't, we had to really look at the tools that are available today. Thankfully, we have some great technology. I mean, here we are doing this interview by Zoom. So the idea was, how can we do the best we can to create, that same feel of starting the year, creating our own social network within the industry to do what we do, right? What do we do at the NAMM show? We look at great new products that are going to set the stage for the whole year, change the way music is made and recorded and played and and taught. All those things we do when we go on that show floor. So we created the marketplace, and that's will be where companies can show their new products. There'll be these opportunities with this great technology on SwapCard to have meetings, to show video, show artists, do one-on-one with your dealers, but also to reach the broader audience of music educators and the artists and the players. So the marketplace is kind of a fundamental part of what we do. We need to launch new products in 2021. That'll be a part of our whole push to get this industry thriving. Second part is the kind of education, right? Maybe that lends itself better to this than any other aspect of it, right? I mean, learning online is pretty ubiquitous now. People are doing it all around the world, especially today with schools. A lot of schools are teaching remote. So the sessions now, that's also primarily for the NAMM member, but think of how it's expanded with AES doing sessions for engineers, and the touring and event technology industry with A3E and ESTA and Timeless Communications, everyone doing these, great educational sessions for the touring guys, the engineers, the installers, people who are doing, install of sound and lighting systems. So there's that whole other side of the education too that we're going to and create. So education, I think, is really kind of we've got to continually improve. And of course, the world looks very different than it did even this past January. So the education will all be focused on that. The dealer sessions will be designed to look at the world as it is now. How can dealers thrive in this new world where, the idea that more and more shopping move online, more and more about delivery, more and more about that kind of service. So there'll be a lot of timely sessions helping us get through and launch to the other side into 21. And I think the third thing about the NAMM shows is the fun stuff, right? I mean, you write really well about that community feel, about connecting with your friends and seeing peers and learning from them too. It's not just all fun, but there is a lot of fun. And that's what we're going to try and create with Believe TV. I'm an older guy, so I think of the terms of TV. That's maybe not the right term when you think about it online, but it's basically 16 hours of programming. It's going to be live. There's going to be interviews and there's going to be performances. There's going to be all kinds of really kind of intriguing or compelling content created that we think will keep people engaged. And they'll watch a little bit of this, and they'll go over to the marketplace, and then they'll come back and maybe take a little bit of a session. I think that's the engaging part is what we're really trying to create. That's something that we would want to be a part of, something that we would actually say, I want to be a part of that. The trick, Brian, I think in many ways this is brand new for us. I mean, as I sit here today, the guys are down the hall, literally writing all the code to make this happen. Even the registration system, I had to rewrite the whole system to make it work. And it's new to us, and it's going to be new to our members, and it's going to be new to the industry. So one of the things we've got to really do a good job on, and it's going to test us all, is to be able to communicate how to make the best use of it, right? For a dealer, how does a dealer actually, while the store is open, take advantage of some of this stuff during the days of Believe in Music Week. I mean, what if a customer walks in, you guess you hit pause and you go take care of the customer. When we're all in Anaheim, it's like, we're there, we're all in, some of us for, ways too late in the evening that we should be. It's really a captured audience there. So this one's a little bit different. We've got to make sure we help our, and the exhibiting members. How do you build this on this platform to show your products in the most efficient way? With artists, they don't have to be in Anaheim. They can film all kinds of demonstrations in the months before and have it on there. We're freed up from time and space in a way, but it's really kind of our responsibility as a staff here to really, do the best job we can for our members and show them the best, how they can take advantage of this, use it to benefit their businesses and their own careers and their education, and push through this so that. And by the way, it's the first time we've done it. So we're making mistakes everywhere along the way. We're not going to get it right. I can't think of anything I've done for the first time and got it right. So we'll learn with our members, because there's no doubt in my mind that this will be how every NAMM show will be going forward. When we get back to being in physical shows, there'll be this component on the side that also will be able to reach people that can't come to the physical show. So we want to get this right so that going forward, every NAMM show will have the incredible physical gathering, but also this really robust online gathering. I just think it's going to make the whole thing stronger going forward. So if anything, we've accelerated what we needed to do anyway, which was to create this parallel physical event with a online event. So a lot of moving parts, it's coming together pretty quickly. And it's actually going to, we're having a lot of fun. We're a 120-year-old startup right now. You got people running around this place going, well, we can do this. There's just nothing but great choices. It's just a matter of making a bunch of choices. So it's a lot of fun, but it's also, we feel the pressure to make sure that we try and get the industry together. And again, create our own social network so that we can do what we need to do as an industry globally to get into 2021, get past the pandemic, get past the economic crisis that comes with it, and really make sure that music is a part of all of this recovery going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that one thing you're saying, you're going to make mistakes, but one thing I know you're not going to mess up is the education, because that's something that can really work well online. I mean, I'm going to miss not having the eggs, the sausage, and the orange juice, but
we'll have breakfast sessions, but you got to make your own breakfast. Now, it's going to be interesting in Japan. It'll be make your own dinner. I mean, we'll have to adjust all these timelines, around the world. That's one of the cool things. So Believe in TV Music is be the Thursday we start that. Although there's stuff going on earlier in the week, just like at the NAMM show, there's all kinds of things going on. But the actual live, and when we sign off on Thursday evening California time, we're going to pick it up in Asia and pick it up again in Europe. And it's going to go around the world with content being created by members in those regions. It's going to be really cool. And they'll create their own content. They'll have something from the UK, from Germany, from Tokyo. So that's going to be kind of a cool thing. And again, while we're sleeping, they'll be engaged, and maybe vice versa. So there's a lot to figure out. And again, the idea that this is going to stay up for a while. We're going to be able to keep this on probably to the end of February, the marketplace, and people can watch the sessions over and over again. So again, this has have a much longer tail than the 4 or 5 days that we would normally have in Anaheim. So again, I'm talking to a lot of members. I'm calling a lot of members every day and getting their ideas of what they'd like to see, right? This is really about, what do our members want to see here? What is the biggest challenges they have, and how can this event help them get through that and be more successful in 21? This is a group effort. Everyone is pitching in on this one, and we're grateful for the help we're getting. We're grateful for the exhibitors who are, while they couldn't do the physical NAMM show, are saying, hey, we'll try this one too and help you out. So, and the dealers are still really focused, on the stores and the getting ready for the holiday period. I imagine that'll be a little bit of a later push, just like at NAMM show. Most of them wake up somewhere around seemingly the industry about January 1st or 2nd and realize, oh my gosh, the NAMM show's coming. And so we always see this big push of registrations right before the show. So I anticipate that'll happen as well. But, again, it really is a team effort, group effort from the industry helping us. How can we build something that is of value for all our members and the industry around the world? So we're doing our best. I'll be looking for all the best advice we can get. from our members. And like I said, this isn't a one and done for me. This is just the start of something we will do every year now.
Oh, wow. Okay, great. Yeah, so I wanted to ask you about that logistically. So I guess it's there's going to be a lot of things going on concurrently, depending on when you log on, what time zone you're in, and all
Yeah.
that. So, right? So there's going to be, you said, what did you say, 16 hours a day? It could be at least. There's going to be stuff going on, right?
I know people aren't going to sit in front of a computer that long, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I couldn't, I get fidgety, after these Zoom calls. We're all on Teams or Zoom calls all day now. But there again, you can set aside some time, if you're on the exercise bike or something, watch another session. So I think that's going to be the on-demand part is going to be really cool for a lot of our members, especially depending on what time zone they're in. But again, people are working, and I understand that. And, we have to make it convenient for when it's right for our members to be involved. The live stuff, I really want to encourage people to be a part of while it's live, because that's like watching sports, watching sports. You don't know how it's going to end up. I mean, I can't wait to see some of this live stuff where I absolutely fall flat on my face, and it'll be just hilarious. You got to see it. It's one of those things you want to see live. So, again, there's a part of wanting to be, for those 16 hours wanting to be alive, and, there's going to be some just great content created. So, and again, we're all testing ourselves like you, creating this whole new way to be effective as you interviewing the industry people. We're going to be doing the same thing as how can we move some of what is physical at NAMM show. So exciting. How do we move that online and make it still impactful and helpful to members' businesses?
Yeah. So to sum up, I believe in Music Week, you're going to be able to go in there and see companies' latest product releases.
Yep.
You're going to be able to hear the education sessions.
Yep.
You're going to have some performances and or parties. However,
yep.
I guess it would be like
happy hours and we'll do the virtual happy hour. Yeah. Yep. You got it. You're hired. You're on the team.
Right. I'm on your team now. That's great. Good. Well, yeah, I just want to make sure everyone knows what they're going to get. When they go there.
This is a stake in the ground, Brian. We're saying that January, we are back as an industry together, as a group. We're going to start the year with energy and enthusiasm and optimism. And that's really what we're trying to accomplish with Believe in Music. This stake in the ground, the industry's gathering with our own social network, and we're going to make sure that we make 2021, one of the best years, if not the best year in our history.
Yeah. Okay. And a couple of things before we let you go. One, just about the industry. I know I wanted to bring it up. I know you're optimistic. One thing I wanted to bring across to you is I'm not words in your mouth, but that I've been proud about is that the MI retailers have really seemed to adjust really well to what's been going on. I mean, you haven't been hearing store closings like all day. They've been pretty rare, in fact. And it seems like they're doing well. They're selling online. They found a way to do video lessons really well. They're still able to, and this is despite the gigging musician being completely dead.
Yeah.
And the school music industry is obviously well depressed because of what's going on with whether you have a virtual class or not. I mean, with me, it started with my kids, it started hybrid. Now it's full, and then it could go back to hybrid, or full virtual in the future. So, I mean, that's obviously a tough industry, figuring that out. So, I would say it's been pretty impressive though, how people have adjusted when it's so hard for some other retailers to adjust. Department store, for example, is very hard to do that. But we've been able to really do that well. I mean, what are your thoughts there about that?
This has been an incredible time, right? I mean, if you would have said a year ago, any of this could have been in the realm of possibility, you'd have been laughed off the stage. But here we are, right? And so the differences in my mind, and I'm talking to members all around the world every day, and it seems to me that everyone has been impacted. Every business has been impacted by the pandemic, but I can't find two businesses that have been impacted the same or experienced it in the same way. And so I think that's the story that will be written up, is that the resilience, the immediate turn to, online teaching, the resilience of, while, you may have actually been ordered to shut down your store, that again was never in anyone's business plan. But to then be able to create curbside pickup, to be able to instantly move more and more of your sales online. The speed at which the people, the members and industry around the world responded to this, just astounding. Really unbelievably fast. The touring industry, the live event, that to me has been just heartbreaking. These are dear friends, dear members of ours in many, many ways. The cancellation of every live event, since March has just been devastating. So, and that we feel, we've got to get those people back working again. We've got to get artists want to play, artists want to get back on stage, audiences want to get back. So, that's been just a devastated area. Construction and new installations has been really positive through all this. It's funny how construction has continued. And then the biggest, I think on our horizon, if I'm going to go on record as saying one of the biggest, I think, issues we will be dealing with as an industry is what happens to school music. Obviously, this has impacted not only the music programs, everything from fourth grade beginner band to choral to marching band and everything in between, but the states that have been impacted by the closures of everything has impacted state budgets completely, right? And the deficits at the state level are going to be the biggest that they've ever seen. And that's going to impact music education. It's going to impact education in its entirety. So we as an industry have to really think carefully about how we will approach 21 and 22 to help not only the music and arts programs thrive, but how can we, make sure that education is in a good place. So we as an industry have to pull together probably more than we ever have to work both at the federal level and at the state level to ensure that we're doing everything we can to know that students have that access. So maybe one of the most important parts of them coming back is this socializing that comes from music classes. Obviously, the connectivity to the community that comes from being in a music class. Of course, the music brain research, linking all that with their success in school overall. That's going to be one of the biggest challenges we as NAMM, as we as the industry have. How can we help strengthen music and arts education in the years going forward as we deal with the economic fallout from the pandemic? So we're going to need everyone's help. We're going to be going back to DC. You're going to be going with us, Brian. We're doing a lot more state capitals and drive-ins, as we call them, to help make sure that we're at that table, that music and arts education is at that table when these big decisions are being made. We cannot afford to not be there. So the industry pulling together, supporting NAMM so that we can do this work, it's going to be critically important going forward. That's the feeder for this whole thing. Fourth grade band changes everything. And down the road, why we have such a robust market is because education, gets kids started in music, and then they become lifelong, music makers and people involved and just supporters, lifelong music supporters. So we need to really focus on that. So yeah, we pivoted quickly, credit to the ingenuity of the small business and the large businesses, and to get to where we are. But we've got to also really be cognizant that this is going to have long-range impact on education. We got to work together tirelessly, optimistically, to make sure that we support music and arts education going forward. So back to the Capitol for you and I, Brian.
Well, let's hope that we could do that in person next year. I'm cautiously optimistic. I mean, it's just some of the greatest memories we have. And then if you've noticed, I'm sure you have a lot of people that go, a lot of retailers that is, whenever they send a picture to me of themselves, it's almost always at the U.S. Capitol. I'm just thinking how people are so proud to go there. So so I hope so. And speaking in-person events, I wanted to follow up. I know it's ahead of time, but I know you got to think about it. And that's the future shows. I think it might be. It actually, I originally thought the toughest decision was canceling this NAMM show, but I actually think your toughest decision might be the next in-person show.
Yeah.
So when I was thinking about it, so for summer NAMM next year, and even for the 2022 NAMM show, what criteria do you need to have? Like, what boxes need to be checked off for you to say, okay, I think it's safe enough for us to gather and have big groups together
Yeah.
in one place?
You know, that's a great question. And I think summer 21, Nashville, I mean, it is on, right? It is on pending any major news that we hadn't anticipated yet. We think by then the economics will have recovered. We think by then there'll be a medical, there'll be relief on the therapeutic side. And of course, vaccines will be being delivered by then. And we think the industry will be, desiring to gather. Nashville could be one of the most exciting events we've ever had next summer in July. But we need to do it safely. We'll be working with the city. We'll be working with there's a whole industry that's coming up and around how to gather safely with using, good research, good protocols. And we want to make sure we can only do it if people can stay and be safe while they're there. 22 is again a little broader picture. We hope that by then the recovery will be fully in play, and that because of those things, economically, politically, and medically, will be a lot of this will be behind us, and we'll be just plowing forward, getting through the impact of this. Obviously, some companies are going to there's been damage to our companies, again, especially on the live event technology. We'll hopefully be on the other side and climbing out by then. Hopefully tours will be happening, bands will be out working, marching bands in schools will be in person again. So 22, we're by February, just a few months from now, March, we'll be planning full on for February. For January of 22.
Right.
We start that literally a year ahead of time. A lot's going to happen here in California. I'd love to see Disneyland open and really be tested and proven that people can go there safely. I know they want to open very badly. The community of Anaheim is very much suffering because of no convention business like ours and no Disneyland. So I hope the governor in Sacramento will be able to move with us and be able to allow those types of events to be gatherings to happen in California. So, it's a year away. We know a lot can happen in a year, as we've just seen. But yeah, Summer NAMM could be the biggest thing we've ever done in a long time. And Winter NAMM 22, I hope, will be the biggest family reunion of the industry that maybe one of the most important since 1945 or 1946 after World War II. But again, we've just got to keep plowing away and be ready for anything. I think that's the lesson for all of us, right? I mean, the world has shown us, if nothing else this year, it pays to be resilient, creative, and quick. And that's what all of us are going to have to be that in the years going forward.
Yeah, thanks. And I think it's thanks for all your information. I'm really confident about it's hard to know about July yet, but I'm really confident about the 2022 show. I really think our economy is going to be in very good shape by then.
Yeah.
That all this, that our live market's going to have returned. And I don't know. I hate to tell you, Joe, but it might be too much for you. But I just think that's going to be a party. I think the 2022 is a celebration. I think you're going to need to be prepared for that. That people are going to be in a really good mood, ready to the parties are going to be packed. You better have a lot of tickets ready for those.
If you think about history in many ways is the same song repeated over and over again, right? I mean, I'm kind of a fan of history. I think about it as a song that's played over and over. The beat's just different, right? And that's really how I think about history. Well, you think about 1918, 1919, what happened after that? The Roaring Twenties. It was one of the most unbelievable times in American history, musically and otherwise. So yeah, you may be right there. After this, there may be such an excitement to move past and to get, and again, music is going to be a big part of it. So if history is any guide, you are correct. 22 will be one of the most important and probably one of the most fun gatherings our industry has ever had.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I hope I'm right. Thanks. I want to thank Joe Lamond, the president and CEO of NAMM, for joining us today and giving us all this time. And we're looking forward to Believe in Music Week as well. So, but thanks, Joe. Appreciate
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate all you do for all of us and the members and the dealers. You really hold up and elevate. And we're proud of what you're doing too. Thank you very much.
Thank you.